I want to speak about this weak, cowardice individual you see on the screen before me, melanated tether. And if he ain't a tether, he for sure as hell is a coon looking to get him some Mexican cootie cat. He's trying to tie and attach foundational Black Americans into deriding Mexicans are doing out there in LA and Palestine, so on and so forth, which is a bunch of nonsense when we ain't even so much as a figment in these other groups of people's imagination. They could give a damn what goes on in foundational Black American society. So why the hell should we put the cape on for these individuals? So miss me with that. And he also says that, we as FBAs, don't have no class solidarity. When we done tried the whole minority coalition things, and we were the main ones pushing that Black and brown unity thing, till we woke up and got on code based off of lineage. Because what would happen was, we sit there and absorb all the blows, and be out here putting the cape on for people and fighting for people outside of the house. And these other people run in the house and reap all the benefits, and we standing outside of the house ass naked. And damn that, and them days is over, so you can miss me with that. And he also said that, we got a hyper individualistic mindset as foundational Black Americans, when it's just the opposite. Foundational Black Americans is powering that. And if it wasn't so much powering what we doing, getting on code based off of lineage, you wouldn't have people, crying foul, screaming tooth to nails, running around here like disgruntled women. So what's powering what we doing? In fact, with us, getting on code based off of lineage, that's one of the first steps in nation building. So, that ain't an individualistic mindset. That's a nation building mindset. And he convinced me. He also said that, we were, we're trying to separate ourselves as foundational Black Americans from the diaspora, which is a bunch of nonsense, because we were the main ones pushing that, Pan-Africanism unity, and other people would come over here, and get on code with the white supremacist society against us, claiming that we lazy, we Akadas, this, that, and the other. And, Mexican people was one of, the biggest anti-foundational Black American people around. They'll throw out that N-word at the drop of a dime. And then melanated, Black immigrants ain't no better as well, because they call us Akadas, lazy, this, that, and the other. So this man can miss me with, his nonsense talking points. He's most likely a Democratic shill. I got Democratic shill vibes written all over him, because he was trying to talk, some nonsense about foundational Black Americans being liberals when we ain't liberal. What it was, he's projecting his own fears and insecurities on us, because in all actuality, he liberal. Because foundational Black Americans, yeah, some of us might be liberal, conservative, and then you got foundational Black Americans that are like me, that say the hell with them both, because foundational Black American ain't, some kind of one size fits all group. In fact, we're not even a group, we're a lineage. We think for ourselves, and we got our own individual ideas and opinions on things. So this man is, a Democratic shill, tether. He's an opposition to FBA society, coming and trying to tell us what we need to do. Why don't you put the cape on? I ain't putting the cape on for not a damn soul who ain't got love for me. These people take up an anti-FBA, mindset, and they work in conjunction with the white supremacist society. So I got the audio and video of this nonsense that this Democratic shill is running around here with, and we gonna walk through and talk about it how we normally do, family. Fair use.
I shared. I searched up Black. This woman said, Black folks, mind your business, go home. This doesn't concern us. And I thought that this was a one-off tweet. I could tell you.
And them dead riding that the Mexicans are doing out there in California, it don't concern us, because we're foundational Black Americans. We ain't no foreigners to America. We build America, so we ain't got no fear of, deportation. We can't be deported. The 14th Amendment was written specifically for foundational Black Americans. But let's continue.
I can tell you right now, it was not. This was a sentiment that many Black folks on the timeline shared. I searched up Black people stay home. The top tweet, sorry, Latino men were the second highest Trump voting.
Furthermore, fighting for other groups of people who wouldn't reciprocate that same energy in return to your group, that's ludicrous. That's insanity, if you ask me. But let's continue.
Black people better stay home. This was a real talking point on the timeline. Niggas was like, hey, y'all don't go outside. This don't concern us. Now, I saw this at 2 a.m. And at 2 a.m. I decided to write in my notes. I passionately wrote down some things in my notes. Now I'm gonna read to y'all exactly what I wrote in my notes. I said, tweets of Black people saying go back home during the LA ICE protest is a result of a hyper-individualistic FBA mindset that
And FBA ain't hyper individualistic. In fact, FBA, us consolidating and not extending ourselves to all these other groups of people who wouldn't reciprocate that energy in return, that left us depleted and us getting on cold based off of lineage and looking out for our people based off of lineage. That's one of the first key components and steps in nation building. So the fact that you up here crying like a female about FBA society is proof and evidence of that. But let's continue.
Plagues the minds of black liberals. All these niggas know is brunch brutes, symbolic victories, and Kendrick Lamar performances. In the face of fascism, they believe they are exempt of the horrors because they are Americans. Look at the words of your great daddy capitalist Jay-Z when he said, "You are still nigga." The main reason why I hate that FBA shit, it directly contradicts with class solidarity. Other yourself from the rest of the diaspora and oppressed.
And like I said, that class solidarity, that oppressed people, cutting ourselves off from the diaspora. We done tried all of that thing, getting on cold with people with the minority coalitions, pushing that black and brown, even the Pan-Africanism thing, and that left us depleted. These groups of people don't give a damn about what goes on in FBA society. In fact, we do all the hard work and fighting for them. They run in the house and leave us out there standing holding an empty bag, and damn that whole narrative. But let's continue.
People as if we all are a part of the same working poor and subjugated by the same powers negates the movement you say you're for. Black Lives Matter, fuck ICE, and Free Palestine aren't different movements. They are synonymous with one each other. Oppressed people across the globe aren't fighting different evils. They just speak different languages.
And we ain't saying that we don't wish people the best, but we just ain't fighting for them. So why the hell are people trying to, get us tooth and nail to be out here fighting and advocating for their group? Do it yourself. We done everything we done by ourselves. We don't look to people as foundational Black Americans to fight not no battles for us. We want some fighting done. We stand up and do what we got to do as foundational Black Americans. But let's continue.
And to all you hoe-ass black liberals who are upset about the 2024 election results and using that data from Hispanic vote as a reason to not march against fascism, just know you're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
And he keeps saying liberals when in all actuality, he's a Democratic shill. Foundational Black Americans come in many shapes, forms, and, fashions. Some of us might be liberals. Some of us might be, conservatives, or you got some that's like me that say the hell with them both. And we're about, FBA empowerment first and foremost. He's just projecting, what he is on, trying to project it onto us. But let's continue.
In Nazi Germany, there was something called the Gestapo. Basically what that shit was, it was the secret police. And those niggas was running around locking niggas up for no reason other than being perceived as an enemy of the state. What I'm telling you is this shit will not stop at brown folk. What that portion of our country want is they want to build a white ethno state. What that means is, nigga, you're next. And if you know.
See, that's how I know he's the Democratic shill right there, saying that we are next, to be deported after they get, brown folks up out of the country. That's a bunch of nonsense because the 14th Amendment was written specifically for foundational Black Americans. Even Trump said this himself, so cut it out with the nonsense and the BS. But let's continue.
A nigga in real life saying that's none of our business bullshit. Tell that nigga that they are a cowardly loser who only cares about oppression when they are directly affected. They are selfish, and tell that nigga I'm surprised they can stand up straight with their lack of backbone. You niggas is pussy. You niggas run around talking about the oppression of our people as if the oppression of our people is in the same exact tools that white supremacy used to oppress all people. Injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. You niggas lack backbone. You niggas only care about oppression when the oppressor got his foot on your neck. You can't be for progress. You can't be for progression if you only care when you are being oppressed. This woman said, black folks, mind.
This man is a cowardly Democratic shill, and I believe he's a tether in all actuality, not even of the lineage, and the fact that he's up here crying and complaining like a disgruntled female lets me know how effective we're being in FBA society, getting on cold based off of the lineage. Just my thoughts on the matter. Peace.